Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Nicola Barreto. Let's take a look at the headlines. Another milestone of CPEP in the development of entrepreneurial skills in the national community. The Attorney General ramps up efforts in enforcing key legislation that will see an increase in law enforcement of cyber crimes. And reduction of crime is one of the major targets of the Live Sport program from the Ministry of Sport. Thank you for joining us. Another milestone of CPEP in the development of entrepreneurial skills in the national community. This as the Community-Based Environmental Protection and Enhancement Program has taken part in an MOU signing agreement with NEDCO, which is described as a means of creating a competent cadre of entrepreneurs. Speaking at the ceremony was Housing Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal and Labour Minister Errol McLeod, who both outlined the numerous benefits stemming from the new agreement.
The collaboration that would arise from the MOU would fit squarely in the ministry's arrangements for the development of our Fair Share program, which will give qualifying micro and small enterprises and cooperatives too access to government contracts to a limit of $1 million in various endeavors. I mean, just imagine our reducing the extent of big contractors earning hundreds of millions of dollars, one big contractor, when we can have 100,000 small contractor people earning each one of them $1 million. A very profound change in our move to building a sustainable economy and environment.
CPEP workers are now being urged to become contractors, as financial literacy programs will now be available to CPEP contractors, as well as training in business, planning, record keeping, and the knowledge of developing a business plan, among other benefits. The MOU focuses on providing opportunities to enable contractors to develop competencies and gain accessibility to the financial resources required to create and run companies efficiently within their communities. Labour Minister Errol McLeod says government's aim is to create additional employment opportunities.
The link with CPEP would raise the numbers of micro and small enterprises which would qualify for the Fair Share program. Let's not forget the government's new concept of the green economy, which, as I had articulated recently, could be a major stimulus for much needed employment, particularly for our youth, and as it will involve large-scale investment in new technologies, equipment, buildings, and infrastructure. And again, both NEDCO and CPEP are critical engines in the green process.
Housing Minister Dr. The Honorable Rudal Munilal is also applauding the initiative, which he says will play a key role in nation building and national development.
It is today that we promote in the most vivid manifestation a culture of entrepreneurship which is critical towards national development. I understand that this MOU means that NEDCO will be providing loan financing and other support services to those qualifying CPEP contractors who satisfy the conditions for NEDCO financing. I want to join in reinforcing Minister McLeod's earlier statement that we are at a critical junction where both organizations, both CPEP and NEDCO, may not have benefited from the best reputation. So it is really a coming together of two organizations that would have had some exposure in terms of their reputation and their role in national development. And today, both organizations, with a history that some of us would like to forget and move forward, are coming together for one of the most important tasks in nation building, which is the development of entrepreneurship and employment creation.
Economic growth is also being identified as one of the main outcomes of the MOU agreement.
We are also promoting today the ability of contractors who satisfy the requirements to embark on their own new business venture so that eventually the CPEP contractor will graduate out of the CPEP program and provide goods and services to both the public and private sector. Our task is not to keep persons within the CPEP organization, but rather to develop the independence and create more small and micro businesses, which we believe will generate more employment, economic activity, and therefore economic growth.
Minister Munilal adds that programs and initiatives such as these that are being dished out by government speaks directly to the independence of each citizen, encouraging them to expand and broaden their horizons. Veena Bharath, News 4.
Attorney General, the Honorable Anand Ram Logan, is vowing to ramp up efforts in enforcing key legislation that will see an increase in law enforcement of cyber crimes here in Trinidad and Tobago. He made the disclosure as he addressed international participants at the Commonwealth North Atlantic Law Ministers in Port of Spain in commemoration of the country's 50th year of independence.
Plans to enforce legislation dealing with cybercrime are said to be on the cards. According to Attorney General Anand Ram Logan, government has been working with the police service in clamping down this type of crime, which was becoming rampant here locally. He was addressing Commonwealth ministers with responsibility for criminal justice administration and reform at a two-day forum being hosted in this country.
With the advent of the internet, cybercrime has become a main topic and focus on the agenda for criminal justice. In Trinidad and Tobago, noting that the threats to security of the person now assume myriad forms given the exponential advances in information technology, the government has pursued the enactment of several pieces of legislation to protect citizens and their rights. We have enacted the Computer Misuse Act of 2000, the Electronic Transfer of Funds Crime Act 2000, the Electronic Transactions Act of 2011, and the Data Protection Act.
AG Ram Logan took the opportunity to highlight key legislation this country is working towards bringing into effect. He noted government was aware of the use of Trinidad and Tobago as a source and transit country for human trafficking, and added that strong measures were being taken in bringing this to an end.
In 2009, Trinidad and Tobago was rated in the Trafficking in Persons report, and for the first time, the country was identified specifically as a point of origin, transit, and destination for victims of human trafficking. Spearheaded a task force to draft legislation to comply with United Nations Protocol, which is to prevent, suppress, punish, and deal with trafficking in persons, especially women and children, for matters connected thereto and incidental thereto. It was this that led to the passage in Parliament and the enactment of the Trafficking in Persons Act 2011. This is indeed a prime example of our attempts to streamline the mechanisms available to prosecute heinous crimes.
Meanwhile, the AG expressed confidence in the anti-gang legislation reaping rewards in the near future.
The Anti-Gang Act has two main purposes. One, and the first and primary, in consultation with those in the United States and other jurisdictions that have anti-gang legislation, was to indeed have a maximum deterrent impact by psychologically striking a legislative blow. The second, of course, is to enable the police to enforce the law by preventing association of persons of more than two for violent criminal activity. Trinidad and Tobago is in the process of implementing the anti-gang legislation. The police service has undergone education and training for this, and we expect to see the benefits of the anti-gang legislation in the near future.
Delegates from across the Caribbean and wider Commonwealth have been invited to attend. The meeting aims at fostering legal dialogue and relations among legal heads from across the United Kingdom, New Zealand, India, and Trinidad and Tobago. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us.
Hello, ever thought of cutting your TSTT business landline costs? It's simply a smart choice to make, only from Blink. One fixed monthly rate for bundled local minutes, bundled mobile minutes, bundled international minutes, and many free calling features. All wrapped up to save you a bundle. Smart choice, only from Blink. A bundle of joy.
Thank you for staying with us. The abuse of elderly persons in this country is being totally condemned by Social Development Minister Dr. the Honorable Glenn Ramadasing. He was speaking during a walkabout in the Freeport area where he expressed much concern about the issue.
There's a saying that once a man, twice a child. And many of our elders become victims of their own family when they have an insured and assured income through the pension. And so by the time they cash that check, the people in the family who tend to not be very nice to our elders. And we are out there saying 804 PPL, 804 people. Call that number. Report elder abuse. Report it. It happens. It's a reality. We only find out about it when people die. But it's out there, and we want to stamp it out of Trinidad and Tobago. Our elders are us 20, 30, 40 years from now. They've worked hard and they should be protected.
Caroni Central MP Dr. Glenn Ramadasing expressing much concern about abuse of the elderly in society. He is also commending the Eternal Spirit Deliverance Center as well as other NGOs whom he says work tirelessly hand in hand with government to bring relief to citizens in need. He was speaking during a walkabout in the Freeport area where medical assistance was being made available to members of the community.
It's amazing the kind of support that we get from the Christian community. And they're all out here in full force. And the people, 900 persons have benefited so far. The government cannot do it alone. We need to partner with NGOs, churches, temples, mosques, everyone. And this is an example of people coming forward in developing countries to lift the lives of people. They have the technology, they have the know-how, they have the medical information, they have the medical training, and they are lending it.
Minister Ramadasing says the Caroni 1975 shutdown is a major contributing factor to the current level of need in the area. He adds that with collaborative efforts and initiatives such as this, communities in need will greatly benefit.
An area that is affected because of the closure of Caroni. Caroni 1975 was a major company in this community. Sugarcane, it's closed. And there's a lot of poverty related to that economic depression that we are now feeling the effects of almost 8-9 years after. And so we appreciate the love and support.
Senior member of the Eternal Spirit Deliverance Center, Garland Rowland, says the initiative is one which incorporates the love of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
We've come to Trinidad. This is our second trip here to share the love of Jesus Christ. Everything here is donated. We're bringing eyeglasses, we're bringing medicine supplies to support the people here, all free of charge, and nothing is leaving Trinidad. We leave everything here that's not used will be used in the community to further the blessing that we can show. And that's what we do. We just want to come and bless. Everybody here has full-time jobs. We're on holiday. And this is how we want to spend our holiday, is in Trinidad with you all, just sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. We bring a lot of vitamins, we're bringing stuff for headaches, we're bringing stuff for blood sugar, and we know that you have good medical here, but some of the prescriptions are expensive. So we're able to bring some prescription drugs that we can give to people for free to aid them and to keep them going while they're buying their own. The eyeglasses are all donated. We have prescription glasses that have been cleaned and donated. We have an eye doctor from Chattanooga, Tennessee, that's doing full eye exams on the people. And they're getting prescription glasses, they're getting reader's glasses so they can see. We're also bringing in, my gosh, I forgot how many Bibles. We have brought in bunches of Bibles, and we're giving Bibles away. We want people to have the Word of God in every house so they can know the truth.
Vuna Barath, News 4.
Health Minister Dr. The Honorable Fuad Khan is urging citizens to be heroes and give blood. His call came during events should be held to mark World Blood Donor Day, where he described the process as one of the most amazing things anyone could dream of, which is saving a life.
The gift of blood is the gift of life. This was the message Health Minister Dr. Fuad Khan hoped to get across, even as he addressed participants at the annual World Blood Donor Day walk. He urged citizens to come forward and donate blood, as emergencies happen every day and blood is always a need for the saving of lives.
Sometimes a very major disaster could take place in Trinidad and Tobago, and we need blood to be on storage to provide that gift of life, or else we have a large amount of the population dying as a result of lack of blood. People have to understand the necessity of donation. We need blood, and today marks the Blood Donor Day, the blood walk, the blood drive, the walk today, to make sure that the awareness is high.
And while several religions are opposed to accepting blood donors, the minister noted that his ministry was working to put substitutes in place for those religions.
Are you aware that giving blood is a transplant? It's a transplant of your liquid organ into somebody else to give them the gift of life. Blood is an organ in its own right. And when you give blood, no matter how small it is, that blood is transplanted into another human being. And the World Health Organization recognizes that. We also recognize that there are religions who do not accept blood transfusions, and the Ministry of Health is working to bring blood substitutes into place for those religions.
Minister Khan said his ministry was aware of the fear associated with giving blood, as many persons were afraid of needles. However, Dr. Khan assured all measures are being put in place to ensure giving blood was a pleasant experience.
The reason behind these walks is an awareness of what is necessary, and is brought about by the World Health Organization, reminding us about the importance of donation of blood. Now, a lot of people in Trinidad and Tobago, they don't give blood because it's out of fear of the pain of giving blood. But those blood donors will tell you that it is not a painful process. And I want to say that today, that the fear of giving blood, and that prevents you from giving blood, it is not a painful process. And we take all necessary precautions to make sure that it is painless.
Blood banks are located at public health institutions, and persons interested in donating must be between the ages of 18 and 65 and should weigh at least 110 pounds and be in general good health. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
When we come back, Wayne Cunningham has a sport report. Stay with us.
Personal music players can stop you from being aware of your surroundings. Always be aware of your surroundings and periodically look over your shoulder to prevent anyone from sneaking up on you. Remember, crime prevention is everyone's business. A message from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
Welcome back. The reduction of crime is one of the major targets of the Life Sport program from the Ministry of Sport. The initiative offers youths from at-risk communities a chance at changing their lives through sport. Recently appointed Minister of National Security, the Honorable Jack Warner, was at the launch of the program, and he gave his full support to Life Sport. Wayne Cunningham has more.
And you can see that two are hitting each other hard, and we kiss maybe at the end of the ball, and we better and the referee show who will win. You still see the home of each other, shaking each other hard, and good fight, and kind of thing as well.
This program launch, which we have seen here this evening, after many months of preparation by the Ministry of Sport, I'm sure, comes at a time when hope is fading And when many are beginning to believe the hype that the people's government is void of ideas, especially ideas as they relate to the upsurge in crime in our country. And tonight, this evening, what we have seen here is a strategy that makes all of us believers once again.
The Honorable Jack Warner was at the time Minister of Works and Infrastructure when Live Sport was launched. And now as Minister of National Security, his connection to the program will go a long way in ensuring its success.
What we have seen here this evening is significant because it lies in the fact that finally, as a people, we recognize that crime is not the responsibility of the Minister of National Security alone. Let me say that again for those of you who are here. I want to say again that crime is not the responsibility of the Minister of National Security alone, but rather is the business of all of us. And therefore, we must take a lead in crafting a sport-based strategy to reduce crime. And this must be done through the medium of steering youths away from the negative social activities, some of which you have seen here this evening, and you must get them engaged in organized sport which the Minister of Sport, Mr. Roberts, has shown us can be done, and for which he must be applauded and congratulated for his vision and his foresight.
The Minister sees live sport as a major solution to the crime problem.
Live sport, therefore, I'm saying to you tonight, is about redemption. It is all about taking your community back. Live sport is all about saving our youth. Live sport is all about the cultivation of a socially amenable society. Live sport may very well be the lifeline. Live sport may very well be the lifeline to save this country from the throes of destruction through the realignment of young people to positive social programs.
I'm a good footballer. I can play ball. But you know, see, not as I smoke my little ganja and smoking cigarette and thing, you know. I'm not fit no more now, but if it was up to me, I tell you, it's the next Messias.
Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
When we come back, fulfilling the promise. In our special feature, Fulfilling the Promise, we highlight the initiatives and achievements of the government over its 2 years in office. At News 4, we've joined in that effort, and each day in our news package, we feature one of those highlights from the long and impressive list of milestones over these 24 months. In this story, we look at PDF textbooks.
Way forward in terms of the
students will soon be privy to online copies of their textbooks. The move is said to be part of the Education Ministry's drive towards going electronic. Education Minister Dr. Tim Gopi Singh made the announcement, saying that talks were ongoing with publishers across the globe towards providing textbooks online.
At the moment, we are working with the publishers of most of the textbooks for the secondary schools. We have ascertained that at least 4 of the textbooks so far in different subject areas can be obtained on the e-aspect of it. And we are going to be working with the publishers to see whether we can be provided with those books on the eConnect aspect of it.
The minister added that the initiative was being patterned after models implemented in Singapore.
We are also working with the Commonwealth of Learning, which spreads across 52 countries, Commonwealth countries, which seek to gather information from in education across the 52 countries and bringing this to the forefront for all of us to benefit from. IDA Singapore also has 1 or 2 editions that we are working to get as well from them.
It is also expected that students will have the opportunity to be interactive on whiteboards provided online.
I know mathematics in the secondary school. Mathematics, Singapore has a mathematics textbook by Marshall Cavendish, which I saw for myself when I went to Singapore about 6 months ago. And they were using this online aspect of it with interactive whiteboards between the teachers and the students in the class. So that is one for sure. And so we're going to be approaching these publishers for these versions. But of course, goes hand in hand with that, we will also have to provide the interactive whiteboards for the secondary schools as well.
Minister Gopi Singh says the move towards a more technologically advanced system will assist students as well as academics conducting research.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Nicola Barito. Thank you for joining us.